Let me just hit record.
Is Rick here? I don't see Wade. There's Wade. Rick here. I don't see Rick.
I haven't heard anything out of Rick.
I don't see Rick yet.
Okay.
Flipping out, but I can't see his truck, whether it's in the driveway or not.
Well, you're recording, so
Okay, we'll go ahead and start this service order or service meeting call to order at 6 p.m. Roll call.
Moore,
Yes.
Cosgray. Present? Present? Okay.
Okay. Hang on one second here. Also, since we have the mayor here, I think the VA is here. Yep, she's there. And Brian's here. And approval of the minutes from July 27th, 2020. I didn't see anything in there, any issues. I'll make a motion that we approve them as written.
I'll second that one. Cosgray second.
Roll call.
Cosgray. Yes. Moore.
Yes. Is there any visitors?
no visitors, no comments right now.
Goals. I reduction. Is there anything else? Is there anything on goals that anybody wants to talk about, discuss? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go down to reports. VA report.
First page, I'll start with the water treatment, water report. As you can see, we're staying pretty stable as far as the amount of raw and finish that we're pulling. Up note, in the lower left-hand quadrant, you will see that our build is now more in line with our finish. We still, all of us are still looking at it, trying to figure out what happened in June. Joey believes that we did a lot of flushing of hydrants, and of course, we had the tower overflow a couple of times because it got struck by lightning. So that could be the reason. We'll keep a close look on it, but as you can see, we are back up to where we should be. Then you will see in the next quadrant that we did draw a little less of raw this month. The average was only 250,000. That's only 236,000 of finish. So we were down a little bit with the water usage. Any questions about water? I'll move on to page 2 then, wastewater. You'll see again a blip on the graph on the top. We had we were working on the diffusers, and the best way to work on the diffusers was just to put everything into the EQ basin. So we're stable this month also as far as the amount of finished water versus the amount of process discharge that the wastewater treatment plant did. Only difference is we had that little blurb again because we're working on diffusers. If I go back to the first page, I just wanted to give you a heads up that the EPA has sent out our notice. By the 1st of November, we have to supply these metrics to the EPA along with a couple other ones. So I'm working on that project this week. Since we've been keeping track of our metrics now for almost 3 years, we have really good history into what they're asking for. We have available to send them. Those are due again the 1st of November. So going on to page 3, you'll see that on the top where the flows versus the rainfall, it's running along the same pattern as it always has. We see a little bit increase when we don't have rain versus when we have rain. All of that again has a lot of variables, such as when we don't have a lot of rain and the ground is dry, we don't get a lot of I&I running to the plant because the ground soaks it up. So that could explain a little bit of difference there. And as the rainfall in the lower left quadrant, as you can see, in July we had 2.65, so a little more than we had in June, but not as much as we had in the rest of the year. So it has been a dry year. And of course that correlates with the overflow events. We haven't had any overflows based on the fact that we've been able to handle everything that we've got. I'll go on to page 4, the utility report then. Again, I've been tracking what the original report amount and number of accounts are, and then that's the red bar, and then the blue bar represents how much we collected. As you can see, this month again was a slow pay. This was our biggest month for our biggest amount of delinquents, and I think it's the combination of several accounts that haven't paid since March. So, but we're getting that under control. Today, we did, I postponed the shut-offs until this week to get everybody else last week to kind of react to it or to reach out to us after the letter we sent out. Today, we have 10 residents currently that are off. 4 were turned off and they came in and paid. 2 I was able to talk to and set up 1 lump sum payment for Friday. As you go down, you'll see that our vacant properties are doing better. I hope that's a sign that they'll all start doing better. This is the month that Brian will need to assess the taxes. So we'll be looking at that list this week to see what needs to be assessed and what doesn't. You'll see there was an increase in the payment plans. A lot of the people took us up on their request to help them pay them off. Most of the people that are on payment plans right now have been unemployed. So we reached out to them to see what kind of plan can they stick to, because the plan is they pay so much extra in addition to their monthly bill. So I wanted to make sure that they understood, you know, not to say, oh yeah, I can pay all of this, because they still have to pay their monthly bill. So, so I think those plans in place will be really good. You can see our duplex are going down. We now only have a handful of properties that need to get those external shut-offs completed. I put that program on hold after the COVID hit, so we now reinstituted that. Everybody's got a letter and we're working with them. So that's kind of the breakdown of what I call the unusual part of the shut-offs. Any questions for me?
Being no questions, Parks and Rec Board.
We are meeting this month. One of the things that did come up, and I'm getting ready to send off, the company said no, they cannot practice there without insurance. So the 2 of them got together of the youth football, went out, purchased the insurance. I got notification from our insurance company today that the underwriter is now satisfied with everything that Matt has submitted, from the insurance coverage to the background checks. So I'll be sending that out as a notification to the Park and Rec Board, and that they should be ready to go. They will not be playing games at Alt Park. They will only be practicing.
Anybody got questions about that? Seeing none. BDRC update.
I talked to Steve. They were in the process of redoing their rental agreement for the BDRC for the Opera House. Once he sent it to me, I sent it off to Jeff. Jeff did see a couple of things that he wanted added, so I sent that back to Steve, who was able to get everything around so his committee that night could make those changes. They're redoing their mission. Steve said they are taking a deep look at their mission, and what goals they want to accomplish, and kind of trying to scale that back since everything is in the status that it is now. But he said they've got some really good ideas, and that as soon as they get those all stabilized and all agreed upon, they would like to have some time to come before council to do a presentation. And I said, just so they gave us enough notice so we could get them on the agenda. So that's where we're at in BDRC.
Has there been any more on that? On the, I think Rick was questioning with the chief on the. I think I'm on the right one. Isn't that the
The embezzlement?
Yeah.
There he is. Hi, Rick.
Has that? I thought that I started speaking that, and then I thought, hey, maybe that wasn't the video. Yeah, it was on me. But has there been anything on that? Does
I have had no updates on that, and I've spoken with other BDRC members. They have no updates on that.
Okay. I just
They
curious.
even take confessions, so I don't know what on earth will
Okay.
I know that the deputy chief was working on that. I don't know if he got it uploaded into Matrix, but once they give the case to the prosecutor, depending on what they want to do with it, or it's up to them to actually prepare the charges and file them. And quite frankly, I've had cases where it was a simple case, and they've waited months or over a year before doing anything with it. So it just, once it gets to the prosecutor's office, it's up to them whether or not they file and when they file. And on a felony level, they have 6 years. So I guess the first question would be to see if everything got uploaded to the prosecutor's office, and if so, it's a waiting game.
So maybe one of us should reach out to the prosecutor's office and see if they have everything we need.
I don't know that the prosecutors will talk to anybody but the law enforcement about that.
He'll be on for the next meeting.
Yeah. Hey,
They can ask you, man. That's fine. That's a good. I didn't need too much update. I was just curious. I haven't heard anything. So it is what it is. It's all process.
yep.
Old business. Is there anybody got any old business?
I got a question while we're on BDRC. Terry, I saw one of the members the other day, and they told me that the door upstairs on the 3rd floor to the back fire escape is getting really, really, really bad. And they wanted to talk with you and Tim about what to do.
Okay.
I've looked at it, and it's not a simple fix because it's a fire exit. It needs to swing out. It's got a transom. It's a big opening. It's a very difficult opening to fix, but it probably really needs fixed.
But does, especially if they're going to follow through with their rentals. So
I mean, right now it's eye hooked shut, so it's not at all acceptable as far as the fire exit. Not even close.
I'll get with them, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay. There's nothing else for BDRC. We'll go into.
There's a little bit on the farmer's market. The Schmidt's food truck will be at the September 8th farmer's market.
Good deal.
So everybody show up for that because we'd like to get them back again. They could be a good draw.
Yay, I love Schmitz.
Yeah. September 8th. They'll be there from 11 to 7, so they'll be there for lunch and dinner.
September. You said September 8th.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Old business. Anybody got old business?
Where Creative Foods comes in at.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, because we've been talking about it. So yes, I would say yes.
So before you in your packet, you have 3 pages I've prepared on Creative Foods. I would like to start with the first one, which is kind of a schematic of the Creative Foods building, because I think everybody needs to understand exactly what is there and what's not there. So we'll start with the water lines coming in. Has everybody got it? Mr. Foreman, do you have it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so there's a 2-inch water line that comes in that right now does have a meter on it. It is a radio read meter, and it's read once a month. there's a second water line that comes in, which is 6-inch fire suppression line. That does not have a meter on it, but it is a fire suppression line. So the chances that they're using that for water, I think, are slim.
I would say that would be 0.
Yes. And then the other source of water you'll see at the top is the well. The well currently, they say they're not using, but I can also tell you there is not a meter on it. And we'll talk about that later. One of the other things that we discovered is that the fire hydrant that's located in the yard, we are going to have to put a shutoff on because there is no way currently to shut the water off to the building. And that could be a number of things. It's not just because maybe they haven't paid their bill,